Another professional video. Mmm. Good eating. Oh yeah. One way this works is if I got the sun blinding me. Some of you may remember in my the last little video that I made for your personal enjoyment. That's the one where I shot the video of me shooting the refrigerator. And I really enjoyed shooting that refrigerator. I wish I had done it right in front of the other appliances just to send them a message, because I've got a Bunn single cup coffee maker cafe, I think it's called. Anyway, it was malfunctioning the other day. Wouldn't work. I was thinking, yeah, I know just what to do. This is so funny, though. I mean, I looked up some instructions online because its lights were flashing. And, help me. And the instructions from a guy on that coffee maker were to take the bottom plate off, which I did, and whack it, which I did. Put it all back together, back up on the counter. It worked. Works fine. But it messes up again. Yeah, maybe time. Another video. If and in the video I made and posted at my channel about I think it was titled Treed, and that was about the one about me going up and retrieving game, because that was my job. Well, the story will not only involve game, squirrel, but it will also involve frogs, because when we moved to the little city I was in, it was out in the country. Now it's almost up next to 3 other cities. But my brother and I hunted a lot, and we hunted bullfrogs along what's called Chisholm Creek. And again, my brother, the good shot with the bow and arrow as well. He could also throw axes and knives and blowgun. I don't know what all he hit. He was lethal. Anyway, we would go out with his bow and arrow, and he had a broadhead on the arrow, and he would the bullfrog would be on the opposite side of the creek, and he would shoot it, and of course the arrow would pin it to the bank. So then I would wade through the creek, retrieve the bullfrog, and carry it back, and dead game. You can hold a lot of bullfrogs in your hand, by the way, but the thing of it is, back in those days, these bad boys were so big we would eat the front legs along with the back legs. PETA folks, you might as well tune out now. Anyway, Mom would just fix up a big old skillet of, we'd go out and honestly, we would get 15, 20, 25 of these bullfrogs. I haven't seen them in later years or heard them. I think maybe civilization or pollution or something drove them away, but we ate pretty good. Anyway, maybe I should have titled this one Root Canal, because I went in for I'd had a root canal once, and then that tooth that I had a root canal in started giving me problems. Go to the dentist, and already had the crown on it, and they said, well, there was a third root, and we didn't get it. We didn't see that one in the x-ray. We cleaned it out, so they had to send me to a specialist. Always a specialist. Specialists are another way for saying, I'm going to charge you even more money. Anyway, and I'm telling you, this guy had a fancy office. I mean, this office was fancy. Led me into the little dental chair, and as I was there waiting for people to show up, the dentist, in case you're wondering who people were, dentist and his assistant, and they had a little, across from a chair, it was a big glass wall, and there was just a little, it was outside, they had a little, beautiful little area made up, and they had a squirrel feeder, and while I was sitting there in the chair, the squirrel was coming down, and he was eating out of the squirrel feeder, and finally the dentist, he comes in, and his assistant, and they're getting me all ready and stuff, and I'm sorry, I was telling him, I said, I was just really here enjoying the view that you've got here in this beautiful little area. I mean, there was trees and plants and all sorts of stuff out there. And he said, oh, yeah, really? He said, well, thank you. He said, because each chair, each section had a different outdoor area with different flowers and stuff in it. And I said, yeah. I said, I've been watching that squirrel. He said, oh, yeah, he's our little visitor. And I said, well, I said, when in my younger days, I said, he'd have been on the table. I kid you not, the assistant helping him gagged when I said that about eating squirrel. And the doc, the dentist, he threw both of his hands back looking at me. It was like all of a sudden he was, working on a guy from Deliverance or something. I don't know. And he was just like, he said, you ate squirrel? Well, yeah, Doc, ate squirrel. He was kind of collecting himself, and his assistant stopped gagging, and he said, well, what does that taste like? And I had never been asked this question before because, it tasted like squirrel. A lot of us growing up, squirrel, rabbit. We went down to see my grandparents. You went out, you hunted, brought stuff back, and you ate it. And evidently, that doesn't happen in everybody's life. But I said, well, it's got a strong taste, kind of. It's not real bad. I said it's a gamier taste. It's a lot tastier. And he finally got himself back together enough, and he went ahead and did what he was asking for. I did not tell him about the frog's legs. I had no idea where that would go. If I brought up frog's legs, they might have just had me leave or called the police or something. Drink a little of the elixir. Yeah, the elixir. Car going by. See the background? See? I'm really thinking about you folks. And I can remember, it was just so funny growing up. There might be 10, 12, 15 of us would get together on weekends, on Saturday morning. Some of us gather up and have our rifles, assortment of rifles of all different kinds of guns. We had an old Hopkins that had I think it was a hexagonal, is that a word? Hexagonal barrel on the outside, and in order to fire it, you had to line up the cylinder with the barrel, because if you forgot to do that little bit of adjustment would spit lead out the side. So anyway, we would do that. And if folks, even in a small city then, nobody thought anything about it. But if you'd have 15 kids show up with guns, and they were teenagers and stuff, people would call a SWAT team in. I'd probably call a SWAT team in. Just different times, different places. Look, let me change. Made everything out. Yeah, I think I've covered everything. If not, we'll do this again for the hale and hearty ones that are actually turning in for this stuff. And listen, peace be with you. Hang in there. We're going to get through this.